Danger, danger!
Welcome back to The Highway with Kyle Shutt. We have got Mr. Dick Valentine from my favorite band, Electric Six. I know I say every band's my favorite band, but it's because I have a lot of favorite bands, okay? Full disclosure, this episode was recorded a little bit back in the quarantine days, so there's a couple of things that might be out of date, especially now since the world's opening back up. Since bands have tour dates, and Electric Six is going to be out all of this summer and fall, I'm sure, so go to their websites, check out all that good stuff. Go see them live. They are so much fun. If you like what you've been hearing on the program, you can go ahead and ring that little bell, click that little button, whatever kind of shit the internet puts there for you to remind you to listen to every new episode. It really helps us out. And if you want to go one step further, you can find us at patreon.com/thehighway for as little as $2 a month. You can help keep this show running. You can get yourself a shout out, get a postcard in the mail. You can help me put a 6-pack of beer in my fridge. The list goes on and on. But let's read the fine print this week. Who gets a shout out this week? Mr. Mike Bax. Thank you, Mike. We got Chris Haynes, Joe Fleischer, Gavin Mahan, Campbell Swanson. Without you, beautiful people, I'd be doing this in the dark. We also have to give some love to our sponsors, Heil Sound. Because if you like the way I sound, it's because there's a Heil in front of me, baby. That's enough for the fine print. Let's start doing things my way.
The Highway.
Dick Valentine, what's up, buddy?
My name is Dick Valentine. I'm in the band Electric Six.
That's all we need to know. Thanks so much for doing this for me. I really appreciate it. One of my favorite bands of all time, Electric Six. Just phenomenal rock and roll music. Just catchy as hell. I guess for the listeners that don't know that Electric Six is my favorite band, you want to tell everyone just kind of like a quick little overview, kind of like where you came from and what you're doing today?
Sure, happy to. Yeah, I'm ready to talk. The band started in 1996 in the city of Detroit, Michigan, and we were called the Wild Bunch then. And it was 5 guys who went to high school together. And I think I was 24 years old when the band started, and we gigged around Detroit as an unsigned band for about 6 years, and then around the 2000 2001, the whole thing with the White Stripes happened. And that whole scene got a bunch of attention that it would not have gotten without the White Stripes. And we were kind of in the second wave of bands to get scooped up by London-based record labels. And one of them, XL, was the one we ended up signing with. And they were able to work our songs, Danger, High Voltage, and Gay Bar, get some really good videos behind them, and turn us into D-level celebrities for a year. But that year, we kind of got our foot in the door to become more of a touring cult following type band, and we just kept going at it and kept going at it and kept touring and taking shows. And even though like XL dropped us, and we signed with Warner and they dropped us, and we just somehow just kept going. We were like musical cockroaches and just kept taking shows, and it turned into what it is now, which where we have like 14, 15 albums and doing all kinds of things on the side, and just have a cult following, for lack of a better word, and it's kind of what I wanted to do when we started the thing in the first place. So I'm a very happy man.
That's great. I actually found out about y'all in the UK. If we were on a tour over there, and a lot of the tour buses over there will have like a hard drive full of movies and just music videos and everything like that. And I'd never heard of you, but then we were watching the music video kind of catch that they had, and the video for Danger High Voltage came on, and I was just like, "What is this? I need to know what this is." And I think at that time y'all had just put out your 5th album or 6th maybe, and so it was like a whole cult thing where I was like, oh man, I've never heard of this band, and they have 6 albums I can geek out on, and so it was great just getting into y'all that way.
When I was I'm sorry to cut you off, but like that when I was in high school, that's what happened to me with REM. Like I found out about REM like when Document came out, And so, like, not only was it like I was like way into the One I Love was the first song I heard from them. Mm-hmm. I really liked, and then I was like, wait, these guys have like 6 more albums. And so I was just like every day, every week going to the store, and like I picked up Murmur, and then I picked up reckoning, and it was like, holy shit, I missed all this music. And it's like that's a great feeling when like your new favorite band like has a extensive back catalog. So I know the feeling well.
I wish I could go back. Like if I had a genie in a lamp and I had 3 wishes, I would totally blow like 2 of them on stupid stuff. Like I wish I could go back and hear the Pixies again for the first time or something like that. You know, like I miss when music was new and fresh. And it's really tough for me to get into stuff these days.
That exact band was the same thing. Like the first time I heard them, I was like, I'd heard the name and just like wasn't that impressed with the name of the band, Pixies. Like I don't want to listen to a band called Pixies, and then like then you hear the music and it's just like, holy shit. So yeah, it's I know that feeling well, and it doesn't happen as often these days, but every now and then it does.
Right. Well, speaking of getting your videos on MTV and being shuffled around by major labels and all that garbage, kind of coming up in that scene of when music still seemed important, I guess, on a mass cultural level, rock and roll at least. If you want, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but what was it like kind of just getting shuffled around by the suits like that? Was it disheartening, or was it just kind of like something that you knew you were going to have to deal with and you just didn't care? You were just kind of deal with it and just so you can get to the point to play the show. That was always the point for me, was playing the show, and you have to deal with a lot of shit to get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, it was disheartening, specifically with XL, just because we jumped through a lot of hoops for them. We did things that they asked us to do that not that we weren't comfortable with, but we rearranged schedules and jumped through every hoop for them, and then ended up just getting let go. In retrospect, a business is business, and I'm not like I got over it pretty quickly. But at the time you were just like, man, we did everything these guys asked, and they just kick us out the door anyway. But then you realize it's all about sales. It's all about perception. We definitely perception-wise didn't really fit on that label very well. I think they saw us as an opportunity to be the next Darkness, the next Scissor Sisters, and that didn't exactly happen sales-wise. So the writing was on the wall at that point. I remember that year after getting dropped, we had a couple tours booked, and like, fuck it, let's just do the tours. You don't have to have a label to do a tour. And then that like I said, helped us. That kind of attitude helped us to transition into what we've become now, because it's not 100% DIY, but it's a much more of a DIY situation than it was in those days.
You can't do everything yourself. I try to, but it's very difficult. You do have to have a team of people, like not necessarily a label, but you have to have somebody else besides just the people in the band. Because it's just, there's a lot to take care of, Well,
that was the whole point. Like when the internet, and Napster and came, and like everyone was like, oh, you don't need labels anymore. Like now you can just throw an MP3 on the internet and become a superstar. I'm like, nah, it doesn't work that way, because people have to be told what to like. So it's like
that is so true.
Yeah, you can't just like and that was always my argument with shit like on alternative radio in the 90s, like driving around listening to Days of the New, and it's like, I mean, I don't know if you know people in that band or whatever, but it was just like I was like, this is not timeless music. This is a terrible song, yet it's a hit, and the reason it's a hit is because somebody plugged it over and over and over again, and it's just to me that was like that era of like Seven Mary 3 and stuff like that was like, if you just play something on the radio, it's going to be a hit.
Yeah, and that was like, it was like the new version of the payola left over from the 70s. It was just, payola still exists, it just evolved in different ways. The Swords experience with radio was really disheartening for me, because just what I learned in doing, I'm a real like kind of, I'm not a know-it-all, but I hate that I'm not a know-it-all, and I want to know it all. So I do a lot of research and homework and stuff whenever I get into something. And I found that especially with modern radio, they're only going to play stuff that sounds exactly like everything else that's on the radio. I'm like the stuff with the drum tones, the vocal register, the guitar tones, things like that. That's why it all sounds the same. And so like whenever you're a band that doesn't sound like what's on the radio, it's not that you can't hit it like a band like Tame Impala that kind of can come in with a fresh sound and just sort of take over everything. They're not going to play you. Like, they're going to just skip right over you. People that are listening to the radio, 9 times out of 10, if they hear a song they've never heard before, will change the station. So just like knowing all this stuff and like what we were going up against and everything, I was just like, why are we wasting money on this radio campaign? They're never going to play us. And even if you do get a hit, like a band like Papa Roach or something like that, if you get one hit, like, you're sort of grandfathered in now to where they're just going to play your next song no matter what, just because people already understand it. Radio's a funny beast, man, because it's just, I don't know.
Well, American radio American radio always has been. I mean,
Right.
Our saving grace was that we got signed to an English label, and the BBC and European radio had a much more extensive playlist and was more friendly to rock and roll. So I mean, we tried to like get Danger on like K-Rock and stuff, and just they weren't having it, and that was the end of it. We had no chance of breaking America at that point. It's basically two radio stations, decide what's going to be on every playlist.
That is so crazy.
And we actually saw that like there was one alternative radio station in Oklahoma City called The Spy, which was not part of Clear Channel or what, I don't know, but they weren't part of the umbrella, but they were their own independent thing, and they were playing Danger High Voltage all the time. And we saw that like in those early shows. We would come to Oklahoma City and play to like 700 people, and then we'd drive to Dallas the next day and play to 50. That's like that was the power of radio. It was nuts.
With being signed to a label from the UK, do you think that was reflective of your level of success there, and maybe in Europe versus the US? Was it purely like the label's headquarters being foreign to the US at least?
Oh, I mean, I'll back it up by saying I'm so glad it worked out that way. As somebody, when I got my record deal, I'd never left North America, and so being able to have more opportunities in Europe, just as a curious person, was amazing to me. So I mean, I'd much rather even if you break America, you might have more money, but the experiences that I've had, like going to Europe as often as I did, and to me, that's I like that a lot more. I know there were a couple bands from Detroit that like had like American success, but like you never went to England, and it's like that's good too, but I'd rather have the situation I've had, because it's been really cool to go over and like be a more an international. I'm kind of like, we're not quite Pitbull, we're not like Mr. Worldwide, but we're
citizen of the world. Yeah,
a little bit. So that's been cool. In terms of I mean, XL is they do all their. I mean, they have Beggars America, which was their arm over here, but I think the impetus was for us to sell a lot of records in the UK specifically, and then whatever we could get out of Europe, and that was the idea.
Man, I miss touring. I miss touring so much. Oh my god. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, we're having this conversation smack dab in the middle of a pandemic. All of our I mean, shit, dude, I was going to open a bar in March. I mean, everything I do relies on the largest amount of people gathered possible. So it's been an interesting time for people like us that are just used to going out, traveling the world, getting in people's faces and stuff. How are you holding up dealing with staying at home? Because you're still in New York, right?
Yeah, I'm in New York. I mean, that's been I have 2 daughters, an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, and having a 3-year-old in the middle of a pandemic in a New York City apartment is not optimal. But backing up to what I mean, the thing is, Electric Six, and then I do solo touring as well, like acoustic shows, and I've done quite a few of those. I've toured really, really hard for the last 17 years. So
yeah, totally.
as much as I miss it, and I want to go out. As soon as I can play a show, I'll be right back out there. But this has been very good for me, because I've been cognizant of needing to take a year off, hit the reset button, and like it's been tough to actually make that decision for myself. So the pandemic made that decision for me, which is good. I mean, I know everyone in the band misses it, but I think myself and Nash, we're the ones with kids. We're very cognizant of the fact that we get to spend more time with our kids, and that's been good. So this vaccine, all this vaccine malarkey looks like it's going to work out, and hopefully by this time next year we'll all be back on the road, and that gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah, it's forced me, because I'm such a long game kind of person. Like I constantly plan my life, 6 months ahead of time. Just being in the band, for like about 17 years too, is about how long I was touring hard and stuff like that. It's forced me to live in the moment, just like one day at a time, every single day, and just find out like what I can create today that's gonna make at least get that energy out of me and stuff like that. And I've actually found that I've created much more than whenever I would tour for 6 months at a time and then come home and do absolutely nothing except smoke weed and play video games until I had kids. But
it has been a nice it forces you to embrace your domestic side, and like I said, I mean there have certainly been days this year where I feel like I'm gonna have a meltdown, but I think in the big picture, this is for me personally, it's been good on that particular level. It's just been around my kids, been around my family, pitched in at home a lot more than I have, and So I'm kind of alleviating guilt. I'm feeling better about myself. I'm like I feel like Harry Shearer at the end of what is it? He's like I look my best, I play my best.
You're absolved. This is great.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
it.
good
Yeah.
to hear. And about your solo career, because you do have a new album out, Parrot People.
That's
right.
right.
Is it out yet, or is it not? Or it will be out.
I mean, like we're going back to with Electric Six, it's a 6-man band and managers and stuff. So when I do my solo stuff, I don't shop around to labels. I want to do it all myself. I want to sell it out of my bag, sell it on the internet, just do 100% myself. And maybe I'm not like doing traditional routes of advertising. Maybe I'm shorting myself some sales, but I'm not interested in that. So
you're doing the right thing. I do the same thing with my solo stuff.
Yeah. It's so it's out. I mean, the minute the record is done and I have a physical copy of it, it's out. So I'm doing mail order sales, and just anyone who wants a copy of it can get it, and then it'll be on all the iTunes and Spotify on Christmas Eve. So it's it'll be around, and that's the thing. Like I go on tour all the time, and if I run out of copies, I'll print up some more. So that's how that works.
I love to just when you put things out yourself and you get to make those decisions on the fly. It's funny, sometimes a random fan will just email me and say, hey, anything going on? I'll be like, actually, yeah, here's some songs, just take them. I love direct fan involvement and just surprising people like that sometimes.
And the other, I've great relationships with the guys in my band. Me and Nash are super tight. After 17 years, and Tate and Dave and all those guys. But I just realized, like, I remember 10 years ago, like, I think about I want to start a side project with this guy. I want to do something with. Then now I'm like, I don't want to do anything with anybody. It's like I would say like, oh, Kyle Shutt could I could do like a duo with him, and I'm not saying no, but you know what I mean. It's like. Now I'm just like, I don't want to play with anybody.
Dude, totally, because then you're waiting on somebody else's schedule, and then they took a week to get around to it, and by then you're already kind of over it. And I know exactly what you mean.
But it's just funny. Like you get you look at who you were a decade ago and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I did. I've been podcasting a lot myself and putting them on my Patreon page. And I did a podcast where I talked about the 40 greatest shows that I've played with either Electric Six or solo, whatnot, and. One of them was 10 years ago. I got a email out of the blue from Courtney Taylor of and he was like, he just discovered Electric Six, and we had a mutual friend, so he got my email and invited me down to go see the Dandy Warhols in Baltimore, and like 10 years ago, I was like, I dropped everything to do that, and it was great, no regrets, but. I'm thinking I'm trying to think bands I love lately. If Depeche Mode, like Martin Gore reached out and said, "Hey, we'd love to have you backstage at Madison Square Garden." I'm not sure I'd go. I don't want to. I love to, but I'm just like, I got to make dinner for the kids, and totally. That kind of thing. Yeah, it's just like so I talk about that in my podcast. I was like 10 years ago, like I dropped everything to go hang out with the Dandy Warhols and watch them take drugs and have a great night, and now I'm just like, I wouldn't. There's no scenario where I would do that.
I think it's Noel Gallagher. He said that if you're doing the same thing at 47 as you were at 27, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's just but I get so much, and I've always been kind of vanilla rated PG in my partying. I just. I pick and choose my nights and treat it like I'm not gonna go nuts on a Monday. If I do go nuts, it'll probably be a Saturday with a night off the next day kind of thing. And so
because you do run a lot of the business operations on tour. In addition to being in the band, right?
Well, yeah, it's that, but I mean, also I've just always had a shitty tolerance. Like if I mean, it's not pleasurable for me if I drink like half a bottle of Jack Daniels, I'm gonna be throwing up all night. So like it's just. Yeah, I've never been the sort of person to do that. But my point is, like, even with my job, when touring happens, I mean, I get enough action and enough fun that to last me a lifetime. So I don't really go out seeking it anymore.
I heard that, man.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I did want to ask you about the solo stuff, because the name, and you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but the name Dick Valentine, coming up with that kind of character, that kind of persona. For Electric Six, was that something that you definitely went into the band knowing you wanted to do, or did that character kind of come up later, and then after that, kind of going into your solo stuff, is that sort of an extension of Electric Six, or is that just sort of you just went with the stage name because you know that that's what people are going to recognize you as?
I mean, nothing in the early days of Electric Six, at least from my perspective. You can talk to some of those other guys, but I never thought the band was gonna ever like play outside of Detroit. I was never like, we're gonna start a band and we're gonna be gazillionaires someday. I was just like, I got a shitty job and I need something to like make my weekends better. Like I need an outlet. That's all I ever saw the Wild Bunch and then Electric Six being. And so like just playing shows at the Gold Dollar in Detroit, I thought that was as far as the band was ever gonna go. So that said, any decision we made, like stage names, was not about like calculating what people want to see. It was just we were 24 years old and we were idiots. It was just like, the name Dick Valentine. Like I thought it sounded like the name of like a 1920s band leader. Dick Valentine and the Horns of Satan. That kind of thing. And so that was it. The persona, I think, like we wore suits in those days just because that was like the height of shoegazer music. I was tired of turning up the Magic Stick and seeing like dudes in like t-shirts with holes in them and the shoegazer stuff. Like so I was just kind of trying to be the antithesis of that. Let's put on suits again. I think I went to a reggae bar in Chicago underage. Like it was called the Wild Hare. I was like 19 or 20 years old. Got into this reggae bar where they weren't carding people, and it was one of the first bars that I went to, because I was under 21, and the band, the reggae, they were all wearing these just suits, these expensive, really well-tailored suits, and I was like, that's how I want to look. I want to look like those guys. So that was it, and that's and then the rest, I guess, of the Dick Valentine persona, whatever that is, I think is just really cultivated from the Danger High Voltage video. I mean that character with the mustache and everything. I mean, that was, I burst so many bubbles that year, like people meeting me in real life and like, just seeing me dressed like a potato and no mustache. And so where's Dick Valentine? Where's the man from there? Like right here. You're not Dick Valentine. So it was, that's how it's gone for a long time. But like you say, that video has so much staying power and, I think if I get diagnosed with a terminal disease, maybe I will just do like the farewell tour and just reenact that video over and over again for an hour. Right. So there you go.
All your videos are fantastic. The gay bar video with all the Lincolns, even through Switzerland and all that. I always thought your music videos were just a cut above in an age when videos really don't matter anymore and they're a total waste of money. I hate to admit it, or the big budget ones anyway. They still work, but God, I miss the heyday of MTV. That was kind of when I came up watching just anything and everything going on. And the Sword was kind of one of those bands, like we were like the Indiana Jones of bands that like barely got our video on MTV right before they just shut the whole thing down and started playing Tyra Banks supermodel shows all the time and stuff. But I don't know, how do you feel about that, about just like spending time and energy on music videos these days? Because I'm a film nerd. I just love film projects and stuff, but it's a deep ocean out there.
Yeah, we don't. For those exact reasons. I mean, we've done enough videos that the thrill is gone. It's like the thought of spending all day on a set. So you have to have, in order for you to do it, you have to love the concept, because it's not gonna make you any money or move any more units. You just have to love the concept of the video. Do it for because you have a strong idea, and you just have to want to do it. And for that reason, I think our band's only had like 2 official videos in the last decade, and. You
did the one that is a shot-for-shot remake of that Billy Joel video. That was fucking hilarious, man.
Yeah, I think that's the last official video we've made. I have a very song off my new album like in my head. I see the video and I just like would love to actually like do the video, but in order to do it, I have to like go out to the Utah Salt Flats and get like a nuclear device exploding and stuff like that. So that takes time, and I don't have that. Right?
Crowdsourcing, you might make it.
Yeah.
Hey, I need $5 million. All right, look.
Yeah, I had for Human Zoo, the song "The Afterlife." I had this concept, and we were gonna do it. We were like a week from shooting it, and it was gonna be. I thought a great video, and then we just got. I won't name names, but I just got an email from one of the members of the band. He was like, "Something came up. I can't make that weekend now." And then we just never shot the video. So that was. It's just that's how it goes, and Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's a lot of work for not a lot of reward. You just have to like the video.
Yeah, I feel that. Going back to the solo stuff, and especially just the kind of songs that you're writing for that, I was just wondering, are those like are any of those leftover Electric Six ideas that you just sort of like kind of put on the back burner until it's solo time, or do you kind of approach those types of songs from a different place? Because you got songs that are really, really funny, but also really, really sad. A song like I'm so sorry, I'm spacing on the name of it off your last one. And It Feels. Like a song like that. Or is there truth to those songs, or do you just kind of write as a character?
Oh yeah, well that particular song, yeah, that was. I mean, I don't write a lot of songs like that. That the one you're referring to, that was literally like the woman I was with before my wife Kate. We were on good terms. Broke up and all that, and then she passed away from cancer at age 40, and I went to her funeral, and so it was just really about a song about that, like everything I was feeling like at her funeral. Like it's a very, very unique feeling when you're at the funeral of somebody you used to be in a relationship with, and like a lot of time has passed. It was weird, so I ended up writing that song. But most of my songs are about robots or demons or you could read into like a song like "Don't Be Afraid of the Robot." Maybe that's about my parents' divorce. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's I've always wanted, for the most part, my bands, my music to be fun, uplifting, juvenile. But if you go on long enough, you're going to try different routes of expression.
Absolutely. I do really enjoy all your solo stuff. I think it's a great extension of just your songwriting in general. But as far as taking that to the stage, is that something that you really enjoy? Because I've seen you do like solo UK tours and stuff, and I gotta admit I'm a little bit jealous of people that can just literally throw an acoustic guitar in a tiny little car and just go on tour that way, instead of having 8-9 people crammed in a van driving around with all this crazy gear, and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I'm lucky that I get to do both. I mean, there are moments on the road with Electric Six where it's just like, God, I love being on the road with these guys. This is great. Like, it's so much fun, and most times are like that. I just think that the older you get, you realize that any scenario of human relations. I mean, you get sick of people. Like what's the phrase? Like familiarity breeds contempt. That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's natural. So so yeah. In order to kind of counter that, these solo tours have been great, and it is a lot of fun. You're just doing everything at your own pace. If you can leave when you want, you can eat where you want, sleep at whatever hotel you want. It is good. So I'm very lucky to do that.
That's awesome. And taking the live band experience into this new age with the live streaming and things like that. You guys have really brought something that I feel is unique to the table. It's not just a bunch of dudes just sitting in a room jamming with nothing else going on. Maybe the first one might have started that way just because that was early pandemic. We were all trying to figure out what it was that we were going to do. But the Halloween Spooktacular that y'all did was just hilarious, man. With just a great idea, like filming it at a prop warehouse and having the skits in there and everything. Is that something that you'd like to continue to do, even if touring does open up, or is that just sort of a sign of the times?
Oh no, I mean it's. I would hope we'll do something like that. Even as touring opens up. I mean, like there's markets we've never been to. I think I know for a fact we have like 5 or 6 hardcore fans in South Africa, and we've never. So it's like a show like that, enables people like that to see it. I've been doing acoustic sets on stageit.com quite a bit, and I will continue to do that even as touring opens up. It's there. It's fun. If you just want to. You want to play a set to some people, you can do it on your computer, and I don't think that's ever going to go away.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of like I have mixed feelings about it, just because I guess once you start, I was curious if you experienced this. Once you start kind of creating your own solo music and kind of hustling that way and doing your own shows and everything, I find it very difficult to listen to anything new anymore, because people say like, "What are you listening to these days?" My answer is me. I just record a lot of my own music and sit there and mix it for hours and this and that. It's really it's made it difficult for me to enjoy other people's live performances, mostly just because I don't have the time anymore to sit around and consume stuff. I'm sort of just constantly busy. Do you have time Or do you make time to enjoy things?
No,
like
I mean I haven't actively been a consumer of music for a long time, just because I'm immersed in it. I have the memories of your band like in my head. All the support bands we've toured with, like all the songs, your songs that stand out. A band like Yip Deceiver, like I mean, I love you guys. I love a lot of the bands we've toured with, and those songs are still in my head. And it's like so, and then you just we listen to music like. As we're doing dishes and stuff here, but I don't actively seek out like this band or that band. I mean, I'm 48 years old. I mean, I spent my early 20s collecting records. I was a DJ on college radio. I did the deep dive for like 4 or 5 years of that, and I just think for some people it can be a lifelong thing, and like you say, I think for others, there's only so many hours in the day. One of the best quotes I've ever seen about that kind of attitude is I think the Minnesota Vikings had a punter like 10 years ago, and he just all of a sudden became like an advocate for LGBTQ rights as the punter of as the punter of the Minnesota Vikings. He was just like he was like going to pride parades and stuff, and like somebody's like, "Why are you doing this?" And his answer was, in a 24-hour day, there's only so much time I can spend punting. That's the best thing. Like you just want to mix it up a little bit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned that you did take my solo band out on tour. Thank you very much for that. That was so much fun. Whenever it came time for me to do the solo tour, I got my Rolodex out and I called up everybody, and I was surprised because that was right in the early days of the Sword kind of hiatus. And I was surprised at the people that totally didn't return my phone call or answer my email or anything. But y'all were, I think it was Dave that I hit up. He hit me up immediately with tour dates and an offer. And I was so thankful for that, because I think it was really important for me to roll that calendar back. And I felt like I was 19 again. We were getting paid, like $200 a night, doing my own merch, no crew, just kind of out on our own. It really brought me back to the early days where we came from. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure having you guys out. It was a lot of fun, and I think what you said, was that the last tour you've done? Was that tour?
I believe we did like a small weekend of shows up to a festival back in October of 2019, and that was the last show that we did, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, I mean, time is it's very strange, especially this year. When we did I went back to Detroit to record in January of 2020, and me and Nash and a friend of ours, we went to some sports bar to drink like pitchers of Miller Lite after we recorded. And I texted those guys the other day. I was just like, "You guys realize that night was the year 2020, right?" And they're like, "No, it feels like 11 years ago." it's like, no, that was 2020.
For real, touring a bunch. I mean, like for years and years, where it's just like, over a decade ago, the Sword, we would tour really hard for like 5 years, and then maybe take a year off to make a new record or something like that, and then tour really hard again for 5 years. And I definitely lost time. Like there was moments when I would wake up and it's like September, right? And they're like, "Dude, it's like Christmas is next week." Like, what? I'm pretty used to not really existing in a normal, what you'd call like a 9-to-5 kind of like time schedule. But now the whole world is like that. So it's really interesting seeing like an entire nation with PTSD from all this, and everybody. I think it's made everyone a little bit more relatable to me or by me. I guess I don't know. It works both ways.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's a big reset button. We've kind of. I mean, I've heard this as well. Like when you look at like commercials of people like in a restaurant, or like maybe watch like sports highlights from like a packed stadium, like the first thing that goes through your head is like, they're all gonna die. You have to realize no, that's from 2018. So,
I know, I saw something too that people were like, any movie with a party scene is now a period piece.
Yeah,
like, oh God.
Nah, I mean, I everything I'm reading, and I like to read, and I like to read the internet. So when I read the internet, I do feel very hopeful about vaccines and how they're going to work. And I've also learned that the process of making these vaccines has been really helpful going forward. I think they've learned things about how to develop vaccines and how they work very quickly. And so, like going forward, for humanity, it's a big step forward.
We shall see. I'm really excited about it. People keep hitting me up because this Primus tour that the Sword was supposed to do that has been postponed until July. people keep hitting me up. They're like, "Hey man, we're coming to Austin for that show. Where should we stay?" And I want to be like, "Don't, don't,
Wait, so back,
don't spend any money yet." You know,
you're supporting Primus?
Yes, they had called us up to support their Rush tribute tour. So it's kind of like best of both worlds. I know it's going to be ridiculous.
No, I mean when touring opens up, that's going to be a hot ticket. So yeah, good for you. That's great.
We were so excited. That was like literally it took Les Claypool calling us up to get the band back together. So we're like, okay, let's do it. Yeah, man.
Well, yeah, that's good. That's good too. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of the Sword situation, but like that's it's good to hear that you guys are making the steps forward and making it happen. So it's cool.
Thanks. It's been so long. We started the band 17 years ago, which just blows my mind. I still feel like I'm 20 years old, just right back to just jamming in a really sweaty storage facility. It's weird. It's crazy how much time has passed. Whenever we just recently got rid of our practice space. We were there for, I think, 15 or 16 years. And I used to joke, I was like, when you go in there, it's like, it's not HD anymore. It's like you go back to, like the fuzzy, grainy, 90s TV vibe in there. It's crazy how much time has passed. Well, I thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. If there's anything,
dude, I'm always on.
Any song you wanted to play, I would love to play a song from the new record if you'd like to give us one.
Oh yeah, off the top of my head, I'll send you a track called Pinball. I'll send it to you when we're done here. And then I'll send you my fake podcast series as well, just because
I'd love to hear that. Yeah, please go to Dick's Patreon page, because apparently he has a fake podcast where he plays every character, and I cannot wait to check this out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So give me your email. We'll do that. Nobody should know your email on this podcast, and I won't leak it, bro. Nobody's gonna know your.
It's easy to guess for those out there that want to try.
Kyle Shutt fucking rules at hotmail.com.
How'd you know?
Yeah,
oh god,
yeah.
It's over. I got to change all my passwords now.
Yeah.
But seriously, thank you for being on, and just hang in there. We're all. It's a real shame. I used to see Electric Six at least once a year, and it's been almost 2 years now since I've seen you. I got the itch, and I know other people do too. So please hang in there.
Yeah, thanks. Mutual admiration, respect society. It's. I'm excited to see us all back out on the road, and it's going to happen. I'm an optimist. I'm an optimist. I'm a fucking optimist.
I'm a fucking optimist.
That's true.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Kyle. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
You could be the pinball, I could be the paddle. Headed for the tip, that's how it always been, like a pinball battle. Manipulate the flipper, get another free ball. You get another double dipper, head into a free fall, some sturdy pinball. There's no way I'm gonna bite your apple tonight. There's no way I'm gonna get the high score when Mike's around. But if you let me say what I need to say, I can change your mind. And then you might find I could be the one to show you that game's a play to win or lose. I get my picture in the news, I put salami in my shoes to get a funny feeling, ain't it true? I play to win and baby, I got you. Licking your lips, it's all in the hips. Bumping off the bumper, slipping through a bonus hole. Cherry soda lemonade on the floor of the arcade. Let the pinball play the rock and roll, rock and roll. There's no way I'm gonna fight this feeling tonight. There's no way I'm gonna make you notice me when Donnie's around. But if you're up for it, then we're through players, we can play it tonight. Turn up the season lights, let your parents disown you. Hey, as you watch me play my masterpiece, haters for consistency, and just a little elbow grease. Baby, you fall to your knees, swimming in my 7 seas. I teach you birds, I teach you bees, and all the lessons I taught you. You get your diploma when you get in my car, baby. records rock, ring the bell or knock, I will allow you entry. I will allow you entry. I will allow you entry. Turn back the clock, let the records rock, ring the bell or knock, I will allow you entry. Turn back the clock, let the records rock, ring the bell or knock, I will allow you entry. Turn back the clock, let the records rock, ring the bell or knock, baby. Turn back the clock, let the records rock, ring the bell or knock.
Thanks so much for tuning into The Highway this week. A big shout out to Reverend Guitars, Railhammer Pickups, and Earthquaker Devices. If you liked what you heard, you can follow where you can follow, subscribe where you can subscribe, and if you want to go one step further, you can support us on Patreon at The Highway with Kyle Shutt. For a few bucks a month, you can help us keep this party going, get early access to next week's episode, and even get yourself a shout out.